I've got the
Smash that live button.
make it with Calvin Smasher, so I'm doing this right now on the live button. All right, let's go live, people.
We're live. Yes.
Ow, that hurts.
What'd you hit?
I was hitting my hand with my spare mic thingamajig.
Quit beating it, man. Quit beating the meat.
It's been a rough day, guys. I'm not going to go into details of it, but let's just say the last like 2 weeks have been rough. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to make it on stream last week. I'm not going to go into all the details of it, but in short, I was helping my family move my grandmother out, and that definitely hit me harder than I thought mentally and emotionally. So I am back a week later. Thanks, guys, for being such good sports about me not making it on last week, but I just was not mentally in the spot. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I want to dive into the fun topic tonight of controversy and fun, Jimmy.
Let's just say next week's episode, we're going to be talking about which is heavier, 1 kilo of cocaine or 2.2 pounds of filament.
I'm going to have JT screaming in the chat the whole time going, no, my brain hurts.
Yeah. Let's see, we got the handy outdoor nerd in the house. Thank you for joining. We've got Rick. Thank you very much, Rick, for joining. We've got Curtis, Lucky 13 Vinyl. How you doing? Are we still on for Sunday?
I'm down. Speaking of which, I need to order some stickers from you, Curtis. I keep forgetting. Or Maker Faire.
Yeah, I need to come up with some money to give him some money for some stickers.
I got him that thingamajig that I still need to finish machining that I could probably trade for like stickers.
Curtis says C. So are we gonna go for a different restaurant this time?
Let's not go to that crappy Red Robin with the world's worst server that ran out of.
Last time we went there, I went there with Curtis. I actually went there several times with Curtis. It's always been really good until the one time you go, and all of a sudden it's just like, oh, do you need drinks? Okay, I'll be back in 20 minutes.
Oh, you want more? You want your onion rings? Oh yeah, they're sitting like 10 feet away underneath the heat lamp, just baking there, and I'm just
they were sitting there when we walked in.
I'm like, wow, really? I almost wanted to walk over and go, are those the onion rings for our table? Okay, I'll take them. Thanks a bunch. Tell your server he needs a life. Or it's like and then you contrast that at the time that I went to Kohl's, the really stinking good French dip place in LA, just saying. First time with our friend Colleen, and the place was literally packed with people. And there's like it's like a small place. There's like 2 server people running around, but my gosh, they were as on the ball as they could, considering that the place was literally packed. And I'm just like, you have no excuses, dude. None. Okay, whatever.
Nathan Adams in the house. We have Rover in here. Eddie, thank you for joining. Paul, thank you very much, guys, for joining us.
What's up, guys? This is a happening stream. I'm gone for a week, and everybody jumps in. It's a good feeling to be back here, guys. Even though things have been rough and there's still stuff I can't talk about right now going on, but it's good to be back with my peeps.
I think Joel was kind of impressed with the chat last week because everybody's real cordial, nice. Everything was really good.
That's the thing I like about our smaller show is the fact that, yeah, we might get the occasional interesting person in the chat, but relatively speaking, compared to some chats where it's literally just going like this and you can't keep up on it, or it's just like everybody being a bunch of 5-year-old jerks in the chat, it's nice that we still are small and we have a really nice viewership base. And seriously cannot thank you guys enough for being awesome and keeping the chat friendly and not turning it into a fighting match. And I really appreciate that. Compared to how some chats go, it's very nice.
Yeah, it is. Wellbot just popped in. Thank you for joining.
Geez, Jimmy, are you just gonna take over the stream for me tonight and I can go to bed early?
Yeah, go for it, man. Have a good night.
Okay, thanks, bye.
So what do you want to talk about tonight?
Well,
talk about kilos and pounds, or what are we? Or what's the subject?
Your kilos and pounds next week. That'll be your thing. I think Jimmy will take us on a tour of Salinas where all the good stuff is located. This guy's got this, and that guy's got that. And hey, what's up, Nana? What you doing over there? What?
And he's like, stop doing drugs.
The Nana's Godfather potatoes, dude. Those things are drugs. I mean, they are seriously drugs.
Oh, yeah, they are. Does Jimmy have an in? What? I got the good stuff, eh?
And he doesn't just mean the Tapatio.
Actually, this is the Tapatio.
I give up. I give up.
Okay, so what's the subject? Let's talk about it.
Okay, finally going on topic. How many minutes in? Only 5 minutes in. This is amazing. Okay, let's see how long we can stay on topic tonight. No, the topic for tonight originally was based off of some misunderstandings, and I'm still going to stand by it as misinformation regarding the whole GPL posting source code. You guys know about it. You probably know what I'm talking about. Just look on Twitter. It's still on there. It's just
what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. What is this?
We talked about it before the stream. Jeez, Jimmy.
La 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 la.
Where's your Alex Jones tinfoil hat?
Yeah, where's that tinfoil hat?
Runs into the house and gets tinfoil and wraps his head.
This subject is such taboo, it's not even funny. I mean, we might as well just get on here and start talking about other stuff.
I know. Well, let's just, okay, fine. I'm still currently demonetized. I guess it makes absolutely no difference. And I guess if it's controversial, it's not a bad thing because I might actually rack up more viewership time with that. So you know what? Yeah, I'm just going to say it for what it is. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have been watching it or not, but recently Marlin, which is the main source code provider thing for 3D printers, has been running around a lot lately going, hi, yeah, companies, we need your source code. And instead of doing it in what I feel is a more professional manner, they just seem to jump on Twitter and just start railing against companies that you need to release your source code. You didn't do it. You're so terrible. And it's, I mean, I'm not saying that is exactly how they are or are not doing it, but at least from the standpoint of me watching externally, that's how it seems to be, which then caused me to think that the original method was people were pretty much going in there and trying to rip code off their machines and trying to back process it. You know, no, that turned out to actually be false, but it ties into another topic for tonight. But the main thing is, it's led me to really start to question, one, the direction and motives of the community, and two, made me wonder, why don't we just have a list of companies that are compliant, are working on becoming compliant, and just are not compliant, period, with the whole Marlin thing, and save ourselves a whole bunch of misinformation and a whole bunch of fighting and a whole bunch of just crap on Twitter. You know, I mean, it's a terrible analogy, but it's a very good example. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with like a seafood watch list, which states green, yellow, and red listed stuff. Green being it's fine, yellow meaning it's probably not being farmed in the most sustainable manner, and red is just don't even buy it. It's close to going bye-bye from overfishing. So the point is, it makes it a very easy way for people to go, oh yeah, I'm going to get this, not get this, and not get that. Why can't we do the same with a Marlin compliance or just open source compliance in general list? So that way it's not he said, she said, it's there, it's being perpetuated by whatever entity is like say Marlin has it, or if there's like an open source foundation, but it's something that's, you know, they're very easy to see, very easily searchable. There might be something that exists, but I haven't seen it. And maybe it exists, but it's just not very publicly visible.
Eddie says there is a list already and it's being built and managed by the community.
Okay, so then it makes the question, why don't we see it?
That's why I just asked him if he has a link to it. I would
And
love to see
I'm
what
not
the.
trying to, and I'm not trying to, rail on anybody and say that, oh, we need to post it every day. I'm just being perfectly honest that if such a thing exists, then why is it still somewhat not known about? Maybe there's sources on Twitter that I just haven't followed that, share it more often, but it just, I don't know. I guess I'm just going to be frank here with you guys. Given the way things have been going with the community, I'm really starting to pull back out mentally and just go, okay, do I really like the way things are going? But I do feel like if we want the community to keep growing, we need to do it in a more professional manner, per se.
I see Chris is in the house. How you doing, Chris? Yeah, that's one of those sticky wickets right there. It's like no matter what you say, somebody's going to get offended either way on it.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I saw the tweets going on between you, Joel, Joe. I understand where all of you come from, and as odd as that sounds, that's I see the point of everybody's making, and pretty much the gist of it was, um, Joe was asking Marlon a question concerning the source code, as far as okay, now that the what was that the where it saves up and knows where it stopped, like if it loses the power or whatever, the
Pretty much
auto
it books,
restart. Pretty
pretty much
much,
bookmarks the program to say, whoops, we stopped here, restart is the very, 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 very basic version of it, per se.
right. So he was asking how soon can that be implemented in Marlin, and Marlin's like, we don't like the way that they did it because it saves line by line the G code back to the SD card, which is going to create more wear and tear on the SD card. That I completely understand. And then Joe, of course, said, you know, it sounds like you're just doing taking a poo poo on it. I understand where he came from, but I think he just used the wrong way of talking about it.
And I'll be perfectly honest. If I've come across as a little bit cranky lately on Twitter, it's not the way that I intended things to go. And I definitely have misspoken a couple of times regarding things. But yeah, I definitely agree that, I'm not calling anybody a saint or a sinner here with how they handled things on Twitter. We all know how Twitter can go. It can go great or it can just go downhill really fast. But at the same time, you know, it's um, it's just kind of disheartening in a sense, though, that it seems like somebody's raising a valid question here, and then all of a sudden it just seems like everybody's just jumping in there, and it's like total, crap storm. And then I come along and ask more of a, probably didn't word it as good as I could have, like a hypothetical question, and then things went downhill. And I'm really sorry if I offended anybody. That was not the intended goal. I was just trying to ask more of a generalized question, and then things went downhill. And I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna go focus on other stuff so I don't make any more foot and mouth moments.
Okay, so Eddie just provided the link to the list. Actually, I'm very relieved because I see GTEX on the compliant one.
I'm getting the link from Eddie so I can add it to the video description, because
So
YouTube
right
has
now the
that.
list says, as far as non-compliant companies, it has ANET, JG Aurora, and Tron XY. Semi-compliant companies, Creality, which I think that's probably going to slowly change over to the compliance one. And then
We'll
compliant
see.
companies is AlphaWise, Anycubic, GTech, Lulzbot, Prusa Research, TiVo, Ultimaker, Wanhao, and ZoneStar.
Interesting. I hate to sound snarky, but I'm not surprised that Ultimaker's on the list.
Yeah. By rights, they should be at the top of the list because they've always been compliant.
MakerBot on there?
Huh?
Is MakerBot on there?
I'm surprised MakerBot's. You know what? MakerBot's not even on that list whatsoever. Let's see. What's another printer? I was just thinking of another printer I was going to see. PrinterBot. They're not on here. I know they're compliant.
Oh man, you could literally make a printer bot out of cardboard.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. There's so much stuff.
Definitely needs to be on the list. I'm surprised it's not on there. I know that they're right now they're going for the foreign companies, trying to probably get those figured out first. But thank you very much for sharing this list. I appreciate it.
Very appreciated, Eddie. And that list link has now been added to the video description. So go ahead and refresh it, and you should be able to find it. I can't stare at it and do the stream at the same time because I'll get distracted and eat up all my minimal bandwidth here. But yeah, that's definitely something that's useful, and I feel like needs to be added onto, obviously. But at the same time, it's good to know that there is a list out there. Although it is a little bit of a bummer that it is somewhat kind of like obscure. I'm not saying it's like hard to find, but it's definitely not like something that, people are like, hey, look, list done. You know.
So Chris is saying, to be clear, what Scott Marlin was saying wasn't that they would not implement it. He was saying it's a bad way to do, and it needs to be looked at to find an alternate, safer way to do it. That's completely makes sense.
And it's not to say that the method that they're doing isn't a good stopgap measure. I mean, we don't know if they decided that's where they're going to leave it or if they're going to keep going with it. We don't know. But at the same time, sometimes you have to say to yourself, something is better. Is some kind of power recovery better than no power recovery? Might not be the most elegant or the best method, but at least if it's something, it's something. I'd be curious to see how G-Tech does it on yours,
I would almost think that they would probably do it the same way, but I'm not 100% sure.
I mean, honestly, I know I'm going to get flack for saying this.
Oh, that's it. Go ahead. Just bury it. Just dig that hole. Come on, get a bigger shovel.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Jimmy. I'm just going to like totally Jimmy Hoffa on myself at the end of this stream. But I guess my attitude is SD cards anymore are literally a dime a dozen. If you know that you're going to get, say, 1,000, it's like a lithium battery. You're only going to get so many charges out of it, but it's kind of like the price has become so low, it's become almost disposable effectively. It's kind of like if you know you're going to get 500 to 750 uses out of an SD card, and you just decide to check it at the 450 use point because that's the way that it just works with your machine, that's up to you. And that's not to say that SD card failures just don't happen. I've had it happen. It's the reason why I carry multiple SD cards on me when I film, is just in case something goes wrong, which has happened. I've had SD cards die a month after use, and I've got some SD cards still using them from I don't know when. You got to do what you got to do, but at the same time, the
best thing to do is just start out and buy yourself a good one. You go and spend the money, get a good memory card, and it's going to last you a lot longer than one off of eBay.
For sure. But even then, the lifespan of something like that will only be so long, if you know what I mean. But Eddie said, as long as it's not dangerous, I would think some is better than none. And I definitely agree with that. There's going to be no perfect solution, but considering where they got without the community's help, I'm actually not saying that it was great, but it's a way that works. I mean, power off recovery is still one of those things that everybody seems to be all like, oh, we'd love to have that. And then a lot of companies are like, finally just rolling it out there, and I'm like, wow, why did that take so long? You know.
So Rick was saying they thought the G-Tech had an issue with Marlin and one of their older models. I remember hearing something about it too, but I cannot. I've been trying to look it up. I haven't been able to find that information. Apparently, they must have got something straightened out though, because they're on that list. So that's good.
Yes.
At least I don't have to worry about the tar and feathers yet.
Oh gosh, yeah. The way things have been going recently is just like, okay, people, seriously, let's act like professional adults here, not like a bunch of people ready to, find someone to, stake through the heart. I'm just speaking frankly when I say that. I'm not calling any particular people out. I'm just saying the trend as a whole seems to have gone from acting more professional to just, who can we smite? But whatever. Besides the point.
So Rick says it's the M201 printer. Ooh, that's a different looking printer. Let's see.
So Chris over Practical Printing made a good point. He goes, a possible compromise with the SD card method would be to make it a menu item that the user can enable or disable by choice, but the consumer needs to be made aware. And then he also said, the SD card method doesn't work if you don't have an SD card installed. If you didn't know that was how you were going to do it and you assumed you had recovery and you were printing tethered, you're screwed. And he makes a good point there. What I'm surprised is, this is just my non-electronic side speaking, but I'm surprised they don't have like a little flash memory inside that has the whole program, reads off of that, and then wherever the program ends, there's say like a motherboard battery on board, a little coin cell or something that runs to keep the memory right there, and then turn it back on. It goes, do you want to recover? And it just remembers where it was last at, reads the starting code, and goes from there. Or it remembers the previous settings for temperatures and stuff, and then goes from there. But just firing off bad ideas as always.
Nathan Allen said tar and feathers. Marlin turned me into a newt.
So Eddie asked, how many people in this chat don't have battery backup connected to their printers? Well, I've got the Thingomatic right here. I've got Clyde, the new guy, right here. I still need to bring the Ultimaker back up. Those are connected to a UPS, but the problem is when I was running the UPS on my Ultimaker, I did a test and it only ran for about 6 minutes with the heated bed going, doing a print. And if we have a power outage here in SF, it's not like a little power blip. It's pretty much like if the power goes out, it's out for good 15 plus 20 minutes. So honestly, I have it hooked up through an UPS and it's there for the little blips. But if we have any kind of major power outage, it ain't going to do squat for me, perfectly honest. I mean, at least for the size of machines that I'm running, you'd need like a Linus Tech Tips rack mounted server size UPS to really make any difference, or a generator. There's something like my Moai that was hooked up to UPS. I could probably run that thing for a lot longer, but I just haven't felt like dragging another UPS downstairs. So I have two of them. One of them's hooked up to the internet modem, and the other one's living up here.
So Rover says he doesn't yet because he doesn't have a working 3D printer. Nathan says he doesn't yet. That doesn't need one. Doesn't need one. Expensive though. Paul, no UPS for me, but I want to get one. Rick, he lives on the edge and doesn't use a UPS. It's the way I do it.
And honestly, I only have two UPSs because somebody's job was getting rid of them because the batteries had died. My dad goes, oh, that's easy. Gets the free UPSs, has batteries for core when he goes to Batteries Plus, buys new batteries, sticks them in, and hey presto, we have working UPSs again. little bit like what Jerry did on his stream. You can pick up a used UPS for dirt cheap if the batteries went bad, and it's like they're really not that expensive to replace. Seriously, you might void a warranty, but I think by the point the batteries die, the warranty's shot anyways.
Right. Yeah, he just on Jerry's video, he just went ahead and replaced the batteries. He's good to go.
Usually that's all you have to do, or just reset something, and that's it. I mean, it's not. When I say it's not rocket science, it's definitely not something I'd recommend doing if you don't have experience with electronics. But at the same time, it's really not that hard to do either. And now cue the awkward silence.
Yeah, I was just trying to go through the chat. See if
oh, God. My brain is like not 100% here right now. And I'm just like, oh, man.
So did you go in there and talk to Joel?
No. I'm probably going to stay off Twitter for at least tonight. Because I got some stuff I need to deal with tomorrow. I don't know. Just given the way things have been going for me lately, I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm just going to like silently not go on Twitter.
This.
I'm like, I don't need any more stupid drama over misunderstandings. And like I said, I'm not saying that how I acted on certain things was necessarily the most appropriate method. I'm not trying to sound like I was terrible, but at the same time, I can understand why people would take what I said a certain way. But at the same time, do I really feel terrible for what I said? No, because I feel like I was being perfectly honest with what I was saying. And I wasn't trying to be a jerk about it, but I can understand why people would take it that way. So I'm not trying to say that I don't understand where people are coming from, but at the same time, I feel like everybody, me included, needs to be less reactionary and more, you know, whatever. You get what I mean.
Yeah. The thing is, where Joel comes from, and I completely understand his point. This is the first time that a Chinese company has had a dialogue with the community and actually went ahead and, because of the community, went ahead and changed their mind about how they wanted to go. They were very intent that they were going to go closed source. And now they're figuring out that by going open source, they can get a lot more help and don't have to pay for the programming to put on their printers.
Yeah, and honestly, one thing to also keep in mind, also it's slightly, when I say it's a cultural thing, I'm talking the world as a whole. Me and Jimmy were talking about this before the stream started. And for years, the whole concept was you got a patent to protect your idea. So if somebody else tries to copy it, you have a plan of legal recourse to go after them and say, I had the idea first. I've got the legal document to prove it. You either pay me a royalty, you stop doing it, or we come to some kind of agreement. Otherwise, see you in court. You know, so the whole concept of open source being everybody has access to something and everybody can build it, add on to it, things like that, flies in the face of all of that. So you kind of get where I'm going. It's definitely a cultural shift just globally as well, to the whole concept of, oh wait, you mean people will actually help with this? And I do think part of the problem with it is, though, is the fact that it is still so new. There's still people who don't fully understand the benefits and the drawbacks to it. So yeah, it is good, though, to see companies are taking a cultural shift. And like I've always said, I stand by whatever a company's decision is to do as they feel is in their best intentions, as long as they are not intentionally screwing over a segment of the community or breaking any rules in the process. You know, if companies like, you know what, we just want to do our own thing, that's cool. If they don't, that's cool. You know, it's definitely up to them, but you know, you get where I'm going. At the end of the day, though, it is a good trend to see, but I feel like personally the way the community has been reacting to it, though, is not exactly sending the most positive message to other companies who may or may not have been considering making that step. That's just me. I'm not speaking for any companies, any individuals. I'm just saying that's how I've personally viewed it. I'm leaving it at that. And you're free to make your own opinions and everything like that. But I just feel like the way it's been handled recently is not the most beneficial to trying to get more companies to change their mind. Just me.
Well, I kind of think it does. I think that the fact that they're learning they can actually deal directly with Marlin, and Marlin is willing to help them out and write their source code and everything to give them a better product that has more functionality to it. That I honestly think that it's going to make a few of the other companies take notice and say, "Wait a minute, what are we doing?"
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking more like along the lines of there's a company that's non-compliant wanting to come into compliance, not a company going, wow, look, wow, they really accomplished well. I'm not talking that side. I do think that side is definitely going to help. I'm talking more non-compliance. So sorry if that wasn't super clear, but yeah, I think companies staring at the positives from it, from a company decides initially that they're going to do that would be good. Otherwise, I don't know. I guess I'm just being slightly cynical, but I do though feel like the way that a community reacts to something really sets a precedent for anybody else who's in there, if you know what I mean.
And he says, well, if they want to use open source firmware, I could care less if they think they should be able to claim it as closed source. JT says, and no ongoing fees if Marlin did the updates. And that's one of the biggest things that have changed, I'd say, in the last probably 3 to 4 years with Android. There was a time whenever Android pushed out a update, for the most part, the different cell phone manufacturers would take and get the update. They'd hang on to it for from 6 to 8 months, putting their little twist to it and then putting it out. But now they're starting to get to the point where they put less twists on it, and it's coming out in a matter of just a couple months now. Eventually, I think a lot of the cell phone companies will finally go to, okay, here, it's an Android.
Yeah, and there's applications where open source, you could argue, has been beneficial and hasn't been beneficial, but it's definitely not a one size fits all solution to a problem. But for things where stuff is constantly changing, say 3D printing, cell phones, things like that, the concept of a lot of people collectively being able to work towards something better is not a bad thing.
Randall says, given there is 1,000 good to 100,000 best quality write cycles, as long as your save method uses virgin memory locations, you would be fine. He said virgin.
What am I going to do with you, Jimmy? You're like the cleaner version of Jerry. But moving on.
Ladies.
Oh, gosh, no.
I could go one step further and say, fellas. Hey, big
this is the
boy.
point in the stream where I go, why am I still here? No, but then Randall also makes a good point there. He goes, if you keep rewriting to the same physical locations, you could easily, quote, burn the SD, which would mean that you've burnt out that section. But that's definitely a good point. Why is your computer making so many noises?
Because it's doing a stinking up or a backup on the my book.
Oh my gosh, dude! Seriously, I'm teasing. Fine.
Let's see here. The printer gods demand blood, not virgins.
They don't care who or what it's from. If you haven't shed blood or burned yourself with your printer yet, you haven't made friends with it yet. We'll leave it at that.
Well, my friend, how much longer you want to go? It looks like you're getting pretty fried.
I think I'll be good for another, how about we go to 10, 11, 15 and see how I'm feeling from there. But I'm definitely crashing fast, which I feel bad because I know a lot of people come on later in the show, but just given the stuff that's been going on lately, I'm just like, it took a bit to drag myself to the computer to do this stream, but I figured, you know what? It was a timely topic. It's worth doing. I need to get back in the swing of things, that sort of thing.
So right now I'm set up to go and meet up with Calvin and Curtis on Sunday to go have dinner with them. And so I went ahead and I printed out 2 doggies to take them in the AMZ 3D bronze PLA and did that on the E180.
And then because I can't, not make practical junk for Jimmy, preview of upcoming episodes, I've got the wet Tolman Bridge nylon Canon VXIA H9000 adapter, and then we have the dry nylon version. So I'm going to do a video talking about how to dry nylon, how to store nylon, and also just talking about the visual differences. But if you guys can't tell, this guy was wet and this guy was dry, and boy oh boy did drying it make a gigantic difference.
So you stuck it in the oven for 2 hours?
Stuck the filament in the oven on the low setting, which was probably about 120 degrees Fahrenheit, I'm guessing. I had it kind of sitting, if there's like the top of the oven and the baking rack, I had it kind of in the middle there, and I also propped the door open about this wide, so it had airflow going through there. So it wasn't like it was just sitting in there getting crazy hot. It kind of self-regulated the heat, and I made sure I was around, pop my head in every few minutes to make sure the plastic of the spool was not going drooping, which ended up happening a little bit. I had some other stuff in there, so I had to move it, and then I got a little too close to the top of the oven, but filament's still fine. That's all that matters.
So let me ask you this: have you tried the new that fuzzy skin setting on Cura?
No, I did them in S3D because that's what I have set up for the Thingomatic, which I printed them on, but I might give that a try.
That's a pretty cool setting. I like it.
I still say he should have used O-rings, but it wouldn't have fit his application.
What's that?
I still keep saying you should have used O-rings, but there's no way it would have worked for yours.
But I want to make a Jerry version of this. I want to take and use grated balls, and so it's like
Jimmy's just having way too much fun torturing me tonight because he knows I'm in a bad mood.
He's the only person I know of that would really get a kick out of it.
Yeah, you go to Maker Faire and Jerry's there, and you're like,
You'd be like, where'd you get this? You'd have to make it like that tall, though. Let's start with the little tiny one and go bigger and bigger. Maybe even put a little like a strand between it,
Oh gosh, yeah, this is going down here real fast.
It's horrible.
Don't worry, I will get payback at some point. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, you will.
I figured out at Maker Faire, I'm just gonna send my camera person over there to just like drop kick you in the middle of Maker Faire on camera and just be like, "Revenge, Jimmy!" Yeah. Dude over there with his wife. Yeah, go up and just kick them in the butt. Don't ask why. Just do it. Is that you? I didn't say it. Do it.
Oh man! They just see that comment I left on Facebook for you.
Yeah, that was great.
So he's being all secretive about what's going on. So because he's being so vague and everything on there, I go on there and say, "Don't worry," because he's talking about the computer messing up, this, that, and the other. I'm like, "Don't worry. Just when the guys call, just let them know that you made a typo and." They'll understand. You know how these dating services are.
It's like, no. I felt bad I had to be so vague, but given the circumstances, it was just like, No, I'm not going to say what it is until I get it all rectified.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt bad for scaring everybody on Facebook though with that. It was like, no, I was like running to go deal with the problem, and I'm checking the post. I'm like, oh crap, no guys, no, that's not what it really was. Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah, update. No, that's
Oh,
not what you think it is.
what happened to did something happen to Calvin's grandma? I'm like, what? She said, did you see that post from Calvin? I'm like, oh, it's that's not that. Yeah, I said it's something else. Don't worry about it.
Jimmy has to like totally come in there and just like totally troll me on it because he knows what's up, and I'm
I
like,
know what's up. I just gotta go out there, just do it, just for kicks. To me and you, it's not a big deal. To him, it's a big deal.
yeah, I know. Well, let's put it this way: it's not like we don't troll each other in private messages all the time, so you know.
A lot of people don't realize this. We probably private message each other like what 50 times a day. Just checking up with each other, see how things are going.
Finding out how life is going, me ranting about some computer glitch that sent me all over Timbuktu to get a problem. You know, it was just like, ugh, it's annoying.
Nathan said he just found you on Facebook. He does not troll.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Wait, did you send me the friend request? I'm like, okay, I feel really bad. If you guys in the chat are sending me a friend request, please also send me a message on Twitter telling me it's you, because otherwise I'm just going to assume it's some spam account. No offense, just, you know, me being cautious, that's all. So Randall was saying there was also a comment about the printer manufacturers disabling the temp overrun routine without the source code. This would have been hard to confirm. That is true, although...
Actually, the person who found it is right here in the chat, I think. Is Chris still in here? Because he's he's the one that I believe either found it or posted it on Twitter.
Yeah. And one thing I will say, and I'm not saying this is right on printer companies to do this or not, but my assumption is there is no thermal overrun protection built into the machine. So I assume otherwise, but I definitely at the same time though don't understand why, if it is a, correct me if I'm wrong, short section of code supposedly that does it, why it's not added in there beats me. Now, it might be more complex than that. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that, but that's my understanding of it. I'm not a software guy. I'm a build it guy.
Chris says he's not the one that found it, but he just pointed it out.
So Randall said he understands why they would do it. It eliminates false triggers. But yeah, it's definitely one of those things where I think it definitely is a little bit like the power recovery thing. It needs to be like, if you choose to disable this, doing so at your own risk, we're going to keep it enabled for safety reasons. But if you want to override it, you can do so, but you also accept the risk associated with it. That's just me, you know.
Okay, so the original CR10 code just didn't have it in there because it was an older version of Marlin, where the CR10S code is the one that has it commented out.
Huh.
So it was purposely bypassed in CR10S, where CR10 it just didn't exist at that time.
That's interesting. I find it also interesting that it was, quote, commented out, meaning that it was effectively disabled, if you know what I mean. I'm assuming.
I was watching the chat because it's just kind of popping up a little bit quickly over here.
Chris is dropping some good nuggets. That is exactly why we are advocating for companies to follow GPL and release their source code. It's 2 lines to remove the commenting from a user to turn it back on. Is there any way that you could theoretically make it a user selectable thing? I'm assuming in like a control panel. Sorry if my lack of coding is coming through, but obviously make it like in a sub menu thing, and you have, you know, a pretty much confirm page. You know what I mean?
Oh, you mean like on the menu? Add a
Yeah.
menu
So it's
selection
like
on the
as like
screen.
an advanced settings thing, you can go in there and you can disable it, but it also has a warning saying, you know, doing this increases your risk of a fire. Such a thing occurs and you've disabled this, we take absolutely zero responsibility for it. You're doing it at your own risk, something like that. So it's very clear that your normal person would not want to go ahead and disable this, but for people who really need to, for testing reasons, or say they have the world's most ridiculous cooling system and it's causing errors, you know, but, you know, just saying.
Chris says theoretically it could be selected from the control panel, but it should not be. It should be on, period, end of story. Take that, Calvin.
Sorry. Eddie was asking to give a good reason to disable it. And I would actually, I'm not saying that this is why you should or should not disable it. But I will say one thing that is kind of frustrating on my Ultimaker sometimes since I've upgraded the cooling is if I start blowing the fans too fast, it will actually cool the Olsen block so much that I'll get error and kills the print.
I would say that if it's giving a odd reading for say more than a minute, then it should just go ahead and just kill the print.
Well, in my case, the temperature, what will happen is, say it's running at like 220. When I kick the fans on, temp starts to drop.
Right.
And then it's trying to climb back up, but because it cannot get the temperature back up to where it is, it assumes that there's a heater error, I'm assuming, and it just kills the print out of safety.
And Chris says if it's the cooling block, if it is cooling your block too fast, then you need to adjust the threshold, not disable it.
Fair. And I'm definitely not saying that this is something that should or should not be done by people. I'm just saying that hypothetically, for somebody who was willing to take the risks, you know, but I'm not advocating for. I mean, I'm definitely not a fan of it not being in there to begin with, being that it is such a quote simple thing to do. Supposedly, kind of actually is a little bit annoying that a company would actually send a machine out with it not even active. Period. That's been like overwritten per se.
Wouldn't it make more sense to just add in a extra menu selection for changing the values as far as the how is it worded here? Um, the threshold.
True. I think the only problem with that though is that it really starts to, it might potentially become an issue with your PID settings for hot end for how it heats up and stuff, but not fully sure. Because what can happen is, and it's happened to people before, is when their hot end is heating up, starts heating up so fast that when the hot end is nearing its operating temperature, it overshoots dramatically. Then the machine freaks out, thinks there's an issue, and sometimes would cause a shutdown, assuming there was a thermal runaway. But there wasn't, because the temperature shot up. It wasn't like, oh, it went 3 or 5 degrees over. It's like it way shot up because the heater was running for too long. But that's pretty rare. And then he's saying, yeah, fix your PID settings. Sadly, a lot of people don't understand what PID settings are and don't understand the M blah, blah, blah auto cycling, but, you know, I probably should rerun my Ultimaker with the fan going just for good measure.
Well, can't you insulate the block?
I can also insulate the block. You can definitely do that. I'm just also going to, once I insulate the block, I'm also just going to rerun PID just for good measure. Because insulating it will affect its heating cycle per se.
Yeah. Well, my friend, how you feeling?
I'm starting to wear out, but there's still some good stuff in chat, so I say we keep going till 11:30. Because honestly, there is some really good points being raised by everybody in the chat here, and
Yeah, just
I think,
unfortunately nobody that watches this after the fact is going to see it.
actually, I think they will because YouTube started saving chat. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty darn sure. Which is nice if they did, actually.
So how do you save the chat?
I think it does it automatically.
Oh, does it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, Nathan's saying, yeah, chat is replayable now, which is nice.
Oh, cool. Goes to show you how often I I watch YouTube all the time. But I just think about it. I haven't watched any of the live streams for a while.
Well, also, you're used to people where they will overlay the
Yeah.
chat into the stream itself through like
Which you never
OBS or something.
get because I always watch on my cell phone. I can't read that chat on the cell phone.
No, it's not even. It's like, before my Mexico bow, oh, wait, whoops, can't see that. But yeah, there's definitely some good points raised by everybody. And I guess my attitude when it comes to certain things is if somebody decides to do a certain modification to their machine or disable a certain function as of their own personal choice, that's up to them. But I do feel like a company making that decision for you and not telling you, not cool.
What's this about? Eddie says in sync. I had to do it.
Oh
Was that
man.
before your time or what?
Yeah, let's just say growing up, you asked me 90s bands. I was born in 91. I'm just like, who dat? I don't know.
Well, you would have been like 9.
Yeah, wouldn't know. I was watching Junkyard Wars at that point. That's all I cared about.
Man.
The good old days. When there was good trash on TV, as they would say.
Oh, Chris, I know. I feel you, my brother. You take care. I hope you get lots of refunds.
I hope so too. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I got to do my taxes Thursday. I was starting them 2 weeks ago and found out that I didn't receive some of the documents I needed for taking care of it. Went to the bank. They were supposed to send them. I still haven't seen them. So Thursday, whether I get them or not, I've got to do it.
Yeah, and if anybody gives you crap, you can just straight up tell them, I went to the bank, they never supplied me with the documents. How am I supposed to file my taxes without the documents? I filed this as an interim, but yeah, I know how it is. Sometimes it's like you'll get documents like 3 months in advance, and you're like, and then other times you're just like, did you even send anything? What?
Right. I never saw them. I went to the bank. They reordered them to send them again. They were supposed to be here last week, and they never have showed up. So I know what the numbers are. Just don't have the exactly what lines and all that. So just kind of play it by ear, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my take is do the best that you can, and but yeah, that's kind of frustrating though. They can't just print it out for you at the bank.
Yes, Eddie, I did do a 1099 this year. I got one from Google. That's my
That's
first time ever. I got an envelope from Google. I'm like, what's Google sending me something in the mail for? Open up. Oh, great.
that's when he goes, I don't like doing live streams with Super Chat anymore.
Is there a way to sing welcome to YouTube?
And then he's like, great, that's not as much as darn it. Oh man. No, yeah, I got my taxes done. It was simple. I was happy.
Well, see, what sucks with mine, I used to take care of all of it until last year because of when Beth retired. I had to go on the Obamacare side of stuff, through the state um, insurance, because my night job didn't offer benefits for part-time employees. So I didn't have any other choice but to go through that program. So you have to fill out this paper every year for your taxes. And I'm trying to figure out the paperwork. I couldn't figure it out. So I finally had to go through TurboTax. Well, TurboTax for me would be completely free until they found out that I had my own business. All of a sudden, it's like, okay, it's $120.
Yeah, I thankfully was able to file still during their free period for both state and federal. I'm just like,
Hey, Daniel's in
God,
the house. Hey, Daniel, thank you for joining.
congrats on 10K, dude. You seriously
Yes.
deserve like 100K or something like that. We all know you're just sitting there like, oh no, no, I'm happy at 10K. We're all like, no, no, you need 100K. No,
Yes.
seriously, dude, congrats. Like,
Yeah,
huge
congratulations.
congrats. I can't wait to see what other crazy, wild stuff he has coming down the pipeline, though.
Yeah.
Oh
So any
yeah,
chances you making out to Bay Area Maker Fair?
may or may not be able to like pump up an air mattress or throw you in the garage or something. You can sleep with the moai.
Don't give him cancer. What are you doing?
Hey, you know what I do? You know what I do before the stream? I go down there and then I just take the bottle of resin and I'm like,
Yeah, you huff it, don't you? You're like,
oh yeah, that's why I was really cranky tonight because I wasn't able to go down there and huff my moai resin. I really don't do that. Don't worry, I'm
you
kidding.
know the house still smells like resin?
Honestly, the garage does not smell like resin. It smells like other stuff.
So Daniel did not say no. He said, things are great here. Sun is shining. I'll celebrate with you guys when I see you. Is that a hint?
Honestly, knowing how little Europeans talk, especially in that portion, that might be his way of saying I'm either going to be there, or that's his way of saying I'll find my way out there. We'll never know. Nothing against Northern Europeans. You guys are awesome. Philbot says you'd love my house. I have an open vat of resin 24/7.
Daniel says
Yep.
West Coast tour will happen eventually. Sweet.
Oh, nobody can see that.
What are you doing?
Gold, this is me when I'm brain fried, and I know everybody in the chat is probably just like,
You look like
yeah,
you're
if you
getting
like,
ready to
you
pull
like
a
this kind of
Hodge twin on us or over here. This.
I know somebody's probably gonna make some terrible meme of me doing that out of this, and I'm just gonna be like, "That's great. That is just great." No handy outdoor nerd. What about West Coast? Okay, I'm sick tired of the East Coast and the Midwest getting it all. We totally need a West Coast. Okay, no more other stuff. West Coast is the best coast. Done. Speaking of which, we totally should try and arrange our own little mini independent West Coast rep rap meetup thing. You, me, Rick, Travis, Heather, Ari, anybody else? Just saying.
Yeah. We need to figure something
To
out.
prove the point.
I got a feeling Dave from Matter Hackers is going to come through. I got a feeling he's got something in the works.
I hope he does, because you know what's going to happen. I'm going to be like, Jimmy, let's rent a van. We're going to Matter Hackers. But first, I need to get a bunch of PB&Js. Oh, you didn't get the joke. Never mind. No, we all know what's going to happen is I'm going to be driving the van, roll down the window, and just scream, "Get in the car, losers! We're going to Matter Hackers!" And Jimmy's going to be like, "Nope, nope, 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 nope,
nope." Excuse me. I usually hit the mute button when I cough, but man, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's allergies or what, but I've been just ever so often it feels like I'm wheezing. Man.
God, I don't have the weed, dude.
It's all the stress. Okay, guys. So I got to talk to you guys for a little bit here.
Give me time.
I got a new job. And it's been one of those bittersweet things, you know, because I've done the sandblasting for 26 years. I've been with the night job at Sears for 16 years. And I just last week was offered a management position in the automotive department. And it's not just a department manager, it's a store manager position. So it involves about 5 weeks of training. So for starting on the 22nd for 5 weeks, things are going to be kind of messed up.
I mean, I have to take over 2 roles. I have to take over your role and my role in streaming.
I think things will work out where I'll be able to stream. I think it will.
And if we have to adjust the time,
when I'm in Chicago, I don't know about that one. Okay, what are you smiling about?
Oh, you should go read the chat. It's really good.
Okay, what's in the chat?
Oh, there's good roast going on. We need to keep it up, guys. Keep it up. Keep pressing Jimmy.
What am I getting? What am I getting roasted on here?
Everybody's calling you an old dude.
Yep, I am an old dude. 44 years old.
Dude, that's not that old.
Yeah, tell that to my bones. Every time I get up out of the chair, I make noises now. I didn't used to make noises.
This is Jimmy. I know I'm going to get it for doing that. I know I'm going to get it.
I just want to make those Hodge twin noises. I want to do the... Yeah, how am I looking?
Like an unhealthy addiction to watching those two eating Popeyes.
Those guys are hilarious, man. No matter how bad your day is, you can watch the Hodge twins and you always leave with a smile.
I still love the part when they're bickering over like not getting any napkins, and they're all like, respect the steam coming off the biscuit, and I'm just like, whoa.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at the steam roll off that. Oh, that's right. You're demonetized. I can say it.
Instantly smashes the stop broadcast button the moment Jimmy's going to do it. Oh, man.
Anyway, all I'm saying is that I may end up having to miss a stream here and there. But the thing is, after that part's done, we may need to talk it over between me and you as far as what day you would like to do it. But I think we can start streaming earlier.
That works for me. Honestly, I'm pretty much free from about 3 p.m. on most days.
Are you?
Yeah.
Because I will be getting out of there probably around 6 o'clock for the most part.
So, I mean, if we did like a 7 o'clock stream, I know it's not going to benefit the really far away people.
Here's my dilemma, though, with doing that. Then we lose our European audience.
honestly, I mean, unless something major happens, we've kind of typecast ourselves into being the late night talk show. And I actually kind of like it that way because, you know, I understand we don't get everybody, but we get awesome people like Kat and Wellbot and, you know,
Daniel.
and Daniel and, you know, any night owls that are up like TK or things like that. But I think there's a nice thing about doing it though later at night is because you get more of you don't get the trolley audience. You get more of like the diehard people who want to be there to watch the show. And I'm not against streaming earlier in the day. I've done that before. But at the same time, I kind of feel like we're kind of good here because the other thing is that we're not like crashing everybody else's stream, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, it is after we made to 11:30. I'm surprised you made it. When we started this just kind of talk, we started talking what about 10, 15 minutes before?
Yeah.
I didn't think he was going to make it 30 minutes.
I didn't think so either, honestly. But that's not to say that when the stream's done, I'm not just going to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, let's just say I wish I could talk more about stuff's going on in my personal life right now, but not yet. Probably not for a while longer, but let's just say that feels good to be sitting back in the seat here. Although I will say, long term, I'm really not sure what the future of the channel is going to be. It really is all predicated upon stuff that's out of my control. So we'll see what happens. But I'm just going to keep doing it while I can. But around Bay Area Maker Fair is probably when I'll know if I'll be able to keep doing regular videos. I'm not saying that I won't be able to do streaming like this, but I'm not sure what my situation will be regarding doing videos per se. So we'll see.
So please, if you haven't already, subscribe to him. Take and watch his videos so he can get his view count up, so he can get monetized again, to give him that incentive.
I don't want to sound like I'm, you know, being some whiny little person like, I didn't get enough views in my videos, so I'm just gonna like quit YouTube. It's nothing like that, guys. But I will say this is just coming from the heart here, but I will say, you know, when you've put a lot of work into a video, it's a little bit depressing when a video of you and a friend running around LA, it was mostly shot by your friend, who did a really good job of filming, by the way, gets more views than the video that took you a while doing like the Tascam holder, the Jimmy design, and that one gets like a fraction of the views. It's a little bit depressing, but what are you gonna do? You know.
And he says, but all of his videos start off with him trying to drown himself.
I was not trying to drown myself. I'm coming out of the water, for Pete's sake. Jeez Louise, dude. And to this day, seriously, when me and Danielle were cruising around LA on the Metro, we were talking about, I really wish we had recorded us talking about the intro. She told me when we shot, because I told her, I'm to this day amazed that you managed to see the coin with me coming out of the water. She goes, oh, you want to know what? I couldn't even see you. I couldn't even see the coin. I couldn't even see the camera in front of me. And I'm like, how in the world did we both then manage to somehow time ourselves perfectly that the coin was just close enough underwater? That's the only reason why I keep using that intro, though, is because when I saw the footage for it when we got home, I'm just like, you shot that? Show intro! I'm dead serious. That's the only reason why I keep that show intro. Is I just can't think of anything to top it with. I don't know. Eventually, I might, but at the same time, it's just kind of like that's always been my favorite intro of all the intros. From me putting pieces of paper down on a piece of paper to spell out the intro, to me sticking the light inside the sign inside the Ultimaker, to the ridiculously long, minute-long intro, to the coming out of the water intro, which is what it's been for a long time. So, you know.
Wellbot says he likes your intro. It's different.
Yeah, thanks, Wellbot. And honestly, the whole intent behind that intro was it was a spin-off of us shooting the beginning of the GoPro handle video. Because if you guys go back and watch that long time ago, the intro is me and Danielle are in the water. I pop out of the water. I forget if she was in the water or not. I'd have to watch it. Come out. Then I'm yelling because the camera's inside the waterproof case, and I'm all like, "I'm gonna make it with Calvin. I'm in the water. I'm freezing." And then the part where she turns and goes like, the camera where it shows both of us was completely unscripted. So the whole coin thingy, we did a couple of takes of it. But if you guys want, I can probably dig up the old footage and just upload to the extras channel the raw footage of us filming the intro in the water if you guys want to see that. Because it is actually pretty funny.
Eddie says, Calvin Witt, just make sure you're using protection. Oh, man. Don't worry, he's got to come back and hit the end button.
Things I can only do because I'm home alone now. Oh, it was great.
Let's call it, man.
Let's call it. It's late. I'm getting cranky.
Yeah, I could tell that on Twitter tonight.
Thanks a lot.
Like Jamie used to say, go eat a cookie.
I think I just need a cookie. Yeah, Adam's a crybaby, so he needs to go upstairs and have his little sugar rush with his cookie, and he's naturally all better again.
Guys, thank you very much for joining it. You guys are what make this this whole show idea even work. If it wasn't for you guys, we'd just be going here. Hi, Calvin. How are you? I'm doing good. How are you? You guys make it fun. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will catch you next week over on my channel where we're talking about kilos and pounds.
Oh, gosh.
Anytime you say kilo, you know it's going to be fun.
The pot is kilo of element. Later, guys.
Awesome. Have a good one. Have a good night.
Bye.